A common belief is that when the physical body dies, the mind simply powers down. The assumption is that death works like a universal escape hatch, a final fade to black where consciousness vanishes and every mistake is wiped clean. But human consciousness is incredibly resilient. It doesn't evaporate the moment a heart stops beating. Every thought and action requires energy. This energy doesn't float away. It is permanently stamped with a specific return address, your unique identity. The universe operates on a strict closed-loop system. Any radiated energy must complete its circuit and cycle back to its owner. You cannot move on to a perfected afterlife or even fully dissolve your consciousness until every single drop of the energy bearing your name is collected, accounted for, and purified. During childhood, most individuals are sheltered by a protective energetic field maintained by their guardians, which buffers the immediate return of their own ledger. However, as the soul reaches the age of self-responsibility, typically around 13, this external shield recedes, and the accumulation of past karmic debt begins to rotate into the individual's own timeline. This transition coincides with years of experimentation and rebellion. When these choices are destructive, they create literal fractures and holes in the individual's now independent energy field. Those tears leave the individual entirely vulnerable. Unseen dark forces actively seek out these fractures, latching on to the exposed aura to leech off leaking energy. By treating sinuous food source, acting as living batteries that keep these dark entities energized. Ignoring karmic debt does not erase it. It simply surrenders your personal power to external forces that will gladly drain your energy for their own use. When you misuse energy, pieces of your consciousness scatter. Fragments of your identity become implanted wherever that negative energy lands, leaving the soul literally shattered across multiple events and timelines. Reclaiming those pieces introduces the rule of specific debt. Karmic accounting does not run on a generalized point system where random good deeds cancel out past harm. If you destroy one neighbor's fence, doing a nice favor for a different neighbor across the street does not magically repair the damage you caused. The specific debt remains unpaid. The default method for repayment is the hard way. To clean the contamination out of your scattered energy and bring it home, you are forced to physically and emotionally endure the exact pain and chaos you inflicted on others. This absolute rule applies to self-harm and substance abuse as well. Since the physical body is a temporary loan given to the soul, any damage done to that physical form requires the soul to experience the resulting pain. Karmic debt functions as an exacting mirror. Progress halts entirely until you have personally suffered the precise reflection of the harm you created. Some attempt the most extreme measure to escape this incoming debt: suicide. Terminating the physical body, however, provides zero relief and does nothing to cancel the soul's ledger. In fact, the physical body acts as a shock absorber for emotional vibrations. Without that buffer, the consciousness becomes entirely frozen in a hypersensitive state, directly exposed to the raw intensity of its own return address energy. Because the act of suicide radiates massive trauma toward loved ones, that entire wave of grief and pain is added to the individual's ledger. In the absence of a body to dull the sensation, the suffering of all those affected hits the soul with total, unbuffered clarity. This ultimate trap results in a massive suffering multiplier. The soul is locked into an intensified loop, where the original toxic thoughts and the pain of everyone left behind are amplified tenfold, creating the exact inescapable hell it tried to avoid. Fortunately, those currently navigating their youth possess a unique advantage. They are actively enrolled in a physical learning environment, and their habits and beliefs have not yet permanently crystallized. This provides access to an alternative to the hard way. While the ledger must always be balanced, the debt can be paid in a different currency, through proactive spiritual work rather than physical trauma. This is the concept of intercepting karma. By engaging in spiritual mastery, you can process returning debts before they impact your physical life, much like blasting falling bombs out of the sky. The violet frequency is a high-speed spiritual furnace. It provides the intense energy required to burn contamination out of your returning particles. Instead of experiencing the drama physically, This frequency consumes toxic vibrations at a spiritual level, allowing the soul to reclaim energy without physical suffering. You do not have to live as a passive victim to your history. By choosing the work of transmutation over the passivity of the hard knock school, you can disarm your karma before it detonates. The teenage years serve as an ultimate proving ground. This is the exact window where the choice between passive suffering and active mastery must be made. Two distinct paths are available. You can wander unprotected, continually bleeding life energy to dark forces, or you can step up to actively claim and purify your specific debts. Mastering spiritual abilities now builds a dense, impenetrable shield. It protects your future from external attacks and rapidly builds a vast reserve of clean energy. True freedom requires the absolute mastery of your own energy to shape your eternal timeline. The comfortable assumption that your actions have no consequences simply surrenders that power to someone else.